I'm not so sure. I'm really not so sure. Going along with my previous statement about health and longevity and keeping calories low, I tend to lean towards that as a marker for my vision, more than getting in a certain amount of protein that has been propounded as needed by bodybuilders. Now again, look, if you're a bodybuilder and you're looking to gain mass, perhaps choose that route. But there's also some really great research. Also, I'm going to reference Brad Pilon on this. He's got a book called How Much Protein. I'll put a link down below if I remember, where he shows you, and mind you, when I make references to other guys, it's because other guys do lots of research, and then you look at his references. And he references all types of research in medical journals and nutrition journals, and has come to the place where he says that you don't need that much protein. In fact, it's sort of a myth. That's his hard stance and position on that. Mine is based on experience, and I'm feeling just fine. I feel great. I feel healthy. I might not always feel like Ronnie Coleman or Mariusz Pudzianowski like I did several years ago, because I've been there, done that. It's another thing to remember. I'm not slaying dragons anymore. I have nothing to prove. You need to prove yourself, just like we all should at some point, especially early in our life, and win some powerlifting contests, bodybuilding contests, or strongman. By all means do. Hey, I took it to the extreme. I wasn't afraid to do whatever the fuck I had to do to win the way I needed to win when I was proving myself and sharpening my fucking sword. And you know this, right? It didn't matter how unhealthy it was. I was gonna do it because I needed to win. And sometimes, you know what, I won't even say sometimes, all the time. For a man to stand on his own 2 feet at one point early in his life, he needs to prove himself to himself and to the world and take some risks to get that shit done. And that's the way I lived my life. I'm at a different stage right now. Okay? So anyway, How Much Protein is a really good resource by Brad Pilon. Energy for workouts. So Elliot, how do you handle your workouts? How do you have enough energy in order to get through your workouts if you're not taking in very much carbohydrates or macros? Well, one of the things is I find that early in the week my energy is just fine. Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, I'm still living off of the glycogen stores from the weekend. Depending on how much I ate. So I actually feel pretty damn good. I have no problems. By Wednesday, and I got to be very careful with this because it increases my insulin and it throws things off a little bit. By Wednesday, I refer to the literature, the science that proves. There's scientific research. Do your own research, but you'll find that they're now saying that pre and in-activity nutrition is perhaps more important and serves you better than post-workout nutrition. So what I'll do is, if I find that I'm starting to feel flat, I'll take a pre-workout shake, not the type that gets you all buzzed up, but something that has a little bit of protein and a little bit of carbohydrates in it. Okay? And I start sipping that before my workout, and then I'll have it during my workout. You'll see sometimes that I'm drinking during, well, not so much because I don't do the vlog videos anymore. Those go on my new membership site, which you might know about. But in other videos, you might have seen me sipping on something pink. It's called In Sport Recovery, and it's a supplement that I use when I'm feeling really flat and I don't have the energy for my workout. I do not find that it is advantageous to my strength and energy to stimulate my adrenal glands without providing nutrients. So it's more of a nutritious shake, if you will. Protein and carbohydrates. So do your research on that. What about flat muscles or muscle loss? Once again, I'm not that interested in looking any particular way. You know what? The byproduct of healthy living and a healthy life is a healthy looking body, and that's what I aim for, right? If in my body, I would like it to speak to the health of my viscera, my physiological strength, and my energetic strength. It's far more interesting, or it's far more a goal for me to have bright, vibrant eyes, or bright, vibrant skin, or a body that says I've been used. In other words, it's functional and strong, structural integrity, rather than look how huge my pecs are. Do you understand? So flat muscles or muscle loss, I'm really not that interested in. If I'm losing a little bit of muscle, I don't care so much anymore. It's just not, it don't mean nothing to me. Might not be the case for all of you, so don't take my advice. What kind of training am I doing? Right now, it's a combination. It's always a form of hybrid training. I mean, it's just the way I do things. I can't focus on one thing at a time because I feel imbalances immediately. So it's a combination of bodybuilding parameters, right? That's sort of like the staple of my program right now. Mainly because I like the way I'm feeling with it, you know, especially given the flatness in my body. It just reminds me that my body's there. It feels good. You know, the extra volume. That coupled with work on structural integrity. And the work on structural integrity is composed of corrective stretching and exercises. You've seen some of the exercises that I do that support my ability to decrease the effects of my anterior pelvic tilt, hyperlordosis, weak deep abdominal wall. I have a tendency towards that imbalance. So I do a lot of deep abdominal wall training, tummy vacuums, lower abdominal coordination with the hip flexor type exercises, if you will. A lot of stretching for the hip flexors, a lot of strengthening for the upper hamstrings. These are corrective exercises. And then I also do integrated exercises. Integrated exercises are movement based. So I'm going to upload a video in a couple days, if I haven't already, using this piece of equipment called the Aero Sling that was sent to me, and we made a video for a company that sells them. And I thought it was one of the greatest workouts ever because it's kind of like the TRX. It's like it's all body weight, but you're putting these leverage positions, and it's really a lot of core strength. You know, I'm a fan of cable, wood chops, presses, single arm, things of this nature. Body weight work. I also like gymnastic work. As my body weight drops, as I get lower and lower, and I have better relative body strength. If you're familiar with that term, it basically means your strength relative to your weight. I'll be integrating more gymnastics work back into my routine, like I did last year when I was about 195 pounds. I'm still about 12 pounds over that, maybe even more. Once my body weight is at a weight that I can handle in that particular way, I'm going to hop back on the rings. I'm going to be doing handstands and things of that nature. So I call that integrated work. Okay, so you've got your power, strength, muscle work, right? There's threefold. Integrated work, which is what I just described, and then corrective work. Write that shit down. That's a good way of creating your own program. What do you do if you're hungry? Like I said, eat fat. What brand of supplements? Okay, look, let me tackle this head on once again with regard to Living Fuel. Living Fuel is a supplement and a brand that I've used for 10 years, before you even knew me, before there was any YouTube, you know, and it was introduced to me by a friend, Paul Check, and Dr. Mercola, Joseph Mercola. Those of you who think that you're clever because you're saying, oh, Paul Check, look, you know that he's a mentor of mine? He uses Living Fuel. In fact, when I went to his very first workshop that I've ever gone to, that's what was for lunch. Hey, would you guys like to have some Living Fuel? All right, dorks. But anyway, I've been using it for a very long time. We decided to put on a Strength Camp Challenge, which is a free event for my fans because I love you so fucking much. I'm going to put on a free event. We'll charge for the competitors a very low price, but we increase the amount of people that can go in to 100. We've got 100 competitors. This weekend it's going to happen. And you know where all that money goes from all the competitors, all the competitor entry fees? To the prize, right? I'm giving away $5,000 to the winner, $1,000 to second place, and $500 to the second. So I'm not making any money from the event. In fact, when I decided to put on the event, I said, you know what? I'm going to give back. And I'm going to hold this event, and I might lose $10,000. But that's okay, because I want to put this on. I want to create some great videos of me meeting my fans and everybody working together and working hard at an event that I believe in, strength competition. And then the manager that I hired to help me with this, that I had to pay also, said, why don't you get some sponsors, buddy? I mean, that way at least, you know, you can buy your equipment without having to go into your pocket, Elliot. I said, what? That's a brilliant idea. And as I put out the message that I was looking for sponsors, what do you know? Living Fuel said, hey, we will sponsor the event. All right? A exchange for sponsoring the event is I will freely and happily make mention of your product during the event. And since I use your products anyway, I'll just say, hey, look, you know, I'll show videos where I'm using it. Now, I wasn't forced to make any of the videos, but I make them because I like the products. and because of the support for you that has been gained through Living Fuel. You don't have to use Living Fuel if it makes you feel uncomfortable, right? If you get all butthurt, don't use it. I don't give a fuck what you use. Do your own research. If you have your own particular brand that you want to use because of you saw it in a bodybuilding magazine, because we all make our choices based on unconscious emotional reactions, right? So if you saw some chick who looked really hot holding a bottle of a fucking supplement you want to use, but you really don't know that that's the reason why you're buying it, then that's fine, bruh. Do whatever you want. But anyway, the fact is, get yourself a high quality fish oil supplement. I've always used Carlson's and Nordic Naturals. Those are two that you can buy at most stores that I've personally used. Branched chain amino acids. I've showed you the fiber supplements I use, and of course Living Fuel Greens, which, look, I'm just gonna say it outright, I don't think there's a better supplement than Living Fuel Greens, but please don't take my word for it. And how much water, once again, and I can tell you because I'm drinking it all day long. I mean, I probably fill this up maybe 15, 20 times a day, I don't know. And finally, Elliot, what's with your fucking hair? Why don't you get a haircut? So, your hair tells you a lot about the history. The hair of an individual tells you a lot about their heritage. And I'm coming to this place in my life where being more authentic with myself and with the world that I influence is growing in potency in my heart. You know, I just had this need to be as authentic as possible with myself. Stop lying. You know, I think as we age, as we grow in wisdom, the lies that we've held on to, if you're an aware person growing in wisdom, the lies that you've held on to and the mask that you've worn slowly loses its strength and the real you comes out, right? And this is, you know, you get to watch me do this because I've been making YouTube videos for, you know, Lord knows how many years. I've always shaved my head, and from high school on, I mean, watch a lot of my old videos, bald head, bald head, bald head, bald head. Because I was ashamed of my hair, because it's not nappy, it's not straight. Some of it goes this way, some of it goes that way. It flips, it swirls, it's all over the fucking place, like I am. But I cut it off because it said that about me, and I was ashamed of it. And then I began, maybe 2 years ago, I began styling it. I started putting products in it, and I'd style it and make it look at a particular way, you know, almost European-like. It's what, a lot of times that's what brown people do. You know, I'm a African, native, European mixed man. Brown in this world. That's what I call it, you know. A lot of times brown and a lot of black people, not all, but there's this tendency to want to measure up in a European-driven world. You know, it's a commerce-driven world based on European values, right? And whether you want to argue with me or not, it is. That's what it is. That's the system we live in. And, you know, we find ways to rebel, but we also find ways to fit in. So we style ourselves, our behavior, our character, our clothing, our hair to meet some of those pressures. And in my longing for authenticity and trueness and rawness, I've decided that I'm no longer going to shave off in shame the crown that makes reference to the African in my blood and to the nativeness in my blood and to my brownness. I'm not going to style it any longer either in order to look a particular way that might be pleasing to some. But I'm going to let it grow wild and free, nappy and ugly, and let it move in every direction that it feels it wants to move without manipulating it, because it comes from my roots. It's who I am. So know this, when you see my new crown, it is to make no statement beyond this: that I aim to be as authentic, transparent, and real with myself, and I will offer you nothing less or more than that. and this is the signpost for that sentiment. I hope this video was helpful. Done.